Good morning, Lana, and welcome to today's science lesson. You realize that yesterday we were dealing with the plants, that is water pollution, and we mentioned the causes of water pollution. What causes water pollution? We named a few things that may cause water pollution. Number one, we said oil spillage. When oil spills either on the ground or even in the water, it pollutes water. It prevents entry of oxygen gas into the water, which is used by the aquatic life, both animals and plants. Then we talked about uncontrolled use of farm chemicals. So we said farm chemicals include the pesticides used to control pests, the herbicides used to control weeds, and then talk about fertilizers. When this is used in excess, the remains of that are channeled into water sources and hence pollutes the water. Number three, we talked about industrial waste. So we talk about untreated sewage or even industrial waste. All these can lead to water pollution, but once it's treated and released, it has no harm. We also talked about so many others like human and animal waste. This needs to be controlled. The animal and human waste must be controlled so that it doesn't get into water. And more so in human waste, where the various people may be suffering from waterborne diseases. And so if the same will be channeled into water, then anybody who will take that water may suffer waterborne diseases. We also talked about acid rain. And we said acid rain is formed when sulfur dioxide and carbon dioxide mix with rainwater. This forms acid rain, and acid rain, we said effects are seen all over. It corrodes metalwork. You see iron sheets becoming rusty because of such, and many others that we mentioned. Now today I want us to discuss the effects of water pollution on three items: plants, animals, and the soil. So we begin with the plants. When water is polluted, how does it affect our plants? Is there an effect to the plant? I'm going to take you back to class 5, where you learn about the plant and its parts. Talked about the flowers, the leaves, the branches, the stem, and the roots. But I want to talk about the roots that we discussed in class 5. And we said the roots are what we call the root hairs. And what is the importance of the root hairs? The root hairs' function is to help the main root in absorbing the underground water and bringing it to the main root. So these roots are for absorption of water. Now, these roots are supposed to absorb water from the ground. And if this water is mixed with there is oil spillage. Oil spillage will lead to blockage of the root hairs. In their work, roots, when absorbing the water, if they're absorbing water from an area where there is oil, remember they are sucking that oil in. And what happens is that will lead to the blockage of the root hairs. Hence, they will not be able to absorb more water. And what will happen to the plant? The plant will definitely die. It will wither and die because it will lack water. Because the part that can be able to absorb the water is already blocked. Just like when you are missing some water at home, you hear people saying that the pipes were blocked at some point, and so water could not come to your house. So for 2 to 3 days, you suffer from lack of water until the pipes are rectified. So this the same. The root hairs just act as pipes because they absorb the water for the plant to be able to carry out its functions. And most of the functions in a plant, like for example photosynthesis, there must be water. If water is not there, then the plant will not make its own food through photosynthesis. So that is one effect of pollution of water. If the water down there is polluted with oil, once the root hairs absorb that, they get blocked and the plant will definitely die. We are also talking about acidic rain. Acidic rain. We know that acidic rain provides the plants with water. Rain provides plants with water. But if the rain is acidic, if the water is acidic, plants will not be able to utilize this acidic rain because this acidic rain or acidic water has an effect. It has a burning effect to the plants. And so this one will not be utilized by the plants. And if they absorb it, try to absorb it, they have what you call a burning or a scorching effect, and they may end up dying. So acidic rain caused by acidic water. So acidic water may lead to plants death. Remember, these plants are many. That's why I'm putting the apostrophe at that point. The plants death, as Mwalimu said this morning. Number 3, we can also talk about excessive fertilizers. We have herbicides and pesticides. All these are chemicals. If they are in excess, once a plant absorbs excess of this, definitely they will die. So a plant cannot use excessive of anything, be it fertilizers, be it pesticides, be it herbicides. If you do excess of that, you'll see them dying. They just dry up. That's why when you are given fertilizers in the agrovet, you are given instructions that you apply maybe 2 spoons. If, for example, you had bought the CAN, the calcium ammonium nitrate, which is a top dressing fertilizer. Remember, at some point when we will be dealing with soil as a chapter, we shall discuss about fertilizers. And we will see 2 types of fertilizers, actually natural and the artificial fertilizers. So we'll be able to deal much with these fertilizers. You hear me mentioning about CAN every time. It's there in your books. We'll be able to deal with that. So if you apply more of this CAN, it becomes in excess. So we say excessive of that will not be taken by the plant. If it takes the excess of that, then the plant will definitely dry up. So much for that. We are saying oil spillage, acidic rain, and excessive fertilizers, herbicides, which you call them the farm inputs, the chemicals, they will lead to dying of plants if they are found in the soil. Now let's look at the effects of this pollution of water to animals. What effect does it have to animals? Are animals affected by this? We are saying that I just talked about water and what we call the human waste. So water that contains chemicals is not fit for animal stroke human consumption. Water that contains chemicals The chemicals I'm talking about here is what I refer to as the farm chemicals. I talked about fertilizers, I talked about herbicides, I talked about pesticides, etc. All these, if they are washed down into our water sources, the rivers, the wells, and so forth and so on, if one consumes that water, whether an animal or human being, they are likely to suffer because of the chemicals that are contained in that particular water. So we say that water is polluted already because it has chemicals. We also talked about oil spillage. Oil spillage in water. What happens? We say this spillage of water provides a blanket. A blanket that prevents, that blanket is in quotes, blanket that prevents, is a cover that prevents entry of oxygen into the water. I still pose the same question I posed yesterday. Where do these aquatic life get their oxygen from? And we answered and we said they get their oxygen from the water. The oxygen they breathe in is already dissolved in that water. So as they interact with the water, they are breathing. Because there's no way they'll come out of the water, breathe and then get in. It is not possible. But God saw it wise that He dissolves the oxygen in the water so that they can take it from there. Now, that oxygen has to come from the surrounding, from outside. So if there's oil spillage in that particular water, remember, if the water is here, that is the water, and there's oil spillage, that is what happens. A blanket is formed here. This is what I'm referring to, blanket. That this oxygen cannot be dissolved in the water again. Why? There's something which is preventing them from entering the water. So what will happen? This water is having no oxygen. And so the aquatic life here will not be able to breathe in. So they will die. So both animals and the plants that will be found in that particular water will die because of lack of oxygen. And we know fish is one of the some things that we get that we can sell to improve the economy of our country. It's also a source of food. So if they die, it means that we are going to lack some important nutrients in our bodies. So that's how pollution of water affects animals. Just talked about the chemicals themselves that are dissolved in that water. They may end up killing the animals. And now we're talking about oil spillage also may end up depriving of the fish and the aquatic life of oxygen. The last part of it is the soil, the effects of polluted water on soil. We know soil is the mother of everything that we take. The plant foods that we take come from the soil. If the soil is not there, then we are not getting anything. So we are saying once the water is polluted water is channeled into the soil, the chemicals. So, like for example, talk about oil spillage. Oil spillage on soil. This will mean that remember we talked about aeration. What is aeration? Aeration is a situation where the soil is porous. Porous meaning that it has ways inside, just some spaces inside, where even the animals inside the soil can be able to breathe. So once oil spills on soil, it prevents any entry of oxygen into the soil. Meaning that if there is a plant here, and you know a plant must be able to breathe, and it uses these root hairs to be able to breathe. So if oil falls on that particular soil, it means that it also prevents entry of oxygen into the soil. So these plants will not get enough oxygen. So they will die. So one of the things that will happen in the soil is that once polluted water or even other forms of pollution takes place in the soil becomes unfit for plant growth. So it will not be able to support plant growth because what is inside the soil is not good for the plant growth. Talk about the acidic rain. Acidic rain raises what we call the pH. What is soil pH? The acidity or the alkalinity of soil. We know a certain plant is able to grow in soil at a certain type of a pH. So if the pH is raised, it means that particular plant will not be able to grow in that soil because the acidity of that soil has been raised. So acidic rain generally comes to raise the pH, the soil pH, and therefore that prevents some plants from growing in that soil. And so the production of that particular soil is very minimal, as we have just seen in other examples. So in excess of fertilizers, excessive chemicals also make soil loose. The one reason that we give when we're discussing about fertilizers, the reason why we use fertilizers, both natural and artificial, is because the soil has over time become loose. What do you mean by loose soil? A loose soil is soil that lacks fertility. So when excessive of chemicals are used in a certain soil for a long time, the soil becomes loose, such that without using chemicals or fertilizers in that particular soil, you cannot be able to raise any crops. We have some areas like that where if you don't use fertilizers, you cannot raise crops. So in such a case, we say the soil is loose. Loose meaning that it doesn't have fertility. So excessive use of chemicals, fertilizers, herbicides, and pesticides will lead to soil becoming loose, and therefore it cannot be able to support plants or raise crops. And so we say the soil is unsuitable for plant growth. So Lana, that is how polluted water affects animals, affects plants, and affects soil. So I want to stop at that point, and in our next lesson tomorrow, we will be dealing with ways of controlling water pollution. I'll just do them in a few minutes tomorrow, and then we get to our main subtopic of tomorrow, which will be the methods of controlling water pollution. So the ways of conserving water. And in this case, when we come to that particular subtopic, you must be very keen. It is a question in an exam, and hence I will go very slowly to ensure that you understand everything, so that when it comes to an exam, you can answer the questions comfortably. So until next time, learner, I will give you a lot of work after this chapter, because I know there are 2 chapters I have not given work that we have already completed. So I'll give you all that work after this particular topic. So until next time, learner, I want to wish you well in your studies.